What's up, guys? Coach Ben here, Coach Ben Podcast, here at my academy, School of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This is Election Day, November 3rd, 2020. I'm here with Jim. What's up, Jim?
Man, it's election day, so here we go. It's going to be the end of the world. And I think it was kind of appropriate. We came in, you said you want to talk about some things. I connected with you. I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. So we called an audible, and we changed up what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about the 5 taboos or the 5 things to avoid talking about when you're training at the academy. And I think we both agree the importance of having at least these guidelines, and they're broad stroke.
Yeah. These are our opinions, too.
Yeah, and these are our opinions. And it just maximizes the benefit of your training experience. Or maximizes your training experience, right?
Yeah, this is mostly about keeping harmony, keeping order in your academy. And like I said, this is an opinion that me and Jim have. We're both black belts. I own an academy. Jim, you've owned an academy. We kind of, I don't want anybody to take these and then just be like, oh, well, this is rigid and you have to follow this, or it's
these are not laws.
Exactly. Some things are different, and I think also people have to understand that we're Americans. We live in California. Things are a little different in California than, say, a rural town in middle America. So it's
right.
Some things are different. Sometimes
and our personalities.
Yeah,
like our personalities.
Personality, temperament. Especially temperament, temperament, cultural things. So anyway, today is a good day to talk about this because this is always something that I know that people online care about this because I see this question on Reddit, in forums, other forums and forums, in many different forums all the time, right? Like, what should we, is it appropriate? It's usually done in one question. It's always like, is it appropriate to talk about this in the academy? What do I do about this in the academy? We're just going to cover all of them today, or a lot of them today.
Yeah, we're going to go, we're going to kind of rein it in because we would like to hear what your thoughts are too after listening to this or watching it on YouTube. Go ahead, comment, like hit up some of the things that we missed. But we're going to go over the 5 general ones. We may even throw in a bonus topic as well. But today's election day, yep. Coach. So let's just get off on the obvious one, which is
politics. Let me go one step back real quick, Jim, and talk about a general, because this list could be really long. It could be really long. It could be 100 things, right?
Sure.
But the general guideline or concept that I think is important, again, to maximize your own training, to keep harmony and order in the academy, is to basically don't judge or present overwhelmingly your own beliefs, and don't judge other people's beliefs overwhelmingly, right? What do I mean by beliefs? Beliefs are pretty much, things like religion, like faith, like, things that people may believe that, how do I put this elegantly? Things that people just believe because that's a part of who they are. It's a part of their identity. These are things that I feel like if you just stay away from that realm in the academy, you won't run into big problems, right? I do think that on the other side, or not the other side, but similar, is values. I think values is something that I think is very important to establish for every academy. And even the academies that don't have established values, they should somewhat know what the values that they hold close to them are. Like, for example, values are things that people should not be disagreeing on. Beliefs are different. Beliefs, I could have some crazy beliefs. Values are just basic human, things. Honesty, right? Honesty. Can we agree that honesty should be upheld in the academy? Yes, yeah. Right? Should we agree that, community, we should uphold the community, make sure the community is being, supported at all times? Maybe that's a value, community, honesty. I don't know what's another one, Jim. Like you could just, there's many different things you could call values.
Empathy,
right?
compassion,
empathy,
and what is your definition of empathy and compassion based off of what values? I mean, like you said, this list can go on, and this could be a deep dive conversation.
I think values should be shared, and even if they're not shared, they should be understood and they should be established. But we're not talking about values. We're more talking about things that are more toward beliefs, right? These are things that I feel you got to just be careful sharing, right? We talked about this already. politics, right? So politics,
That's kind of like the number one thing.
yeah, avoid it, right? You just, in the academy, there's sometimes hundreds of people, right? Let's say your academy has 200 people. Not everybody's going to share the same political views, right? Politics tends to make people go insane.
Yeah, and if here's a thought. If you were in a room with 200, 250 plus, whatever, and they all think the same, I think you're a part of a cult at that point.
You're in a cult.
Good chance.
Yeah.
It's a good chance.
Yeah.
So.
That's it's either a cult or a bigger
or
than
a
a
concert
cult.
because everyone loves that band,
Yeah.
so that's easy. But yeah, getting into when we're talking about politics, it could be a little tricky if everyone's thinking the same.
And why is it something that you should avoid? It's because it
charged.
It's charged. It's loaded. It creates discomfort. It creates division, right? It creates, again, I said it's a belief, right? These are things that you can't challenge people on because at the end of the day, what are you going to do? You're going to challenge them on something that not everybody, right? I think me and you are pretty good at this. We keep politics. We talk about politics, but we keep it. It's not.
Doesn't define us as a person.
Yes, we're not.
Right.
It's not our identity.
Right.
I can have a fine conversation with you, and
you and I disagree on so many things.
Yeah, we disagree on a lot, but it's not part of our identity. So when
Right.
you say something I don't agree with, I don't hold it as some super offensive thing because it's not a part of me.
Yeah, I would even go a step further, and I would say that our disagreements on this level is actually valued.
Yeah.
It's valued.
Well, you have to disagree, right? Like, if there's no disagreement,
It's healthy.
exactly. There's
yeah.
no innovation without disagreement, right? Go to a place where everybody thinks alike and you just all say the same thing. Why would there ever be innovation or change?
Right.
How can I build new and good ideas if I don't have different viewpoints and new viewpoints coming at me?
If you think you have it figured out already.
Right. So anyway, we shouldn't go down this road too far, Jim, because we're going into it. So
Right.
politics. We know each other. We've known each other for 10 plus years.
Right.
There's people at the academy that you met yesterday. They might be super on this side, and you might be super on this side. And next thing you know, you guys are having a friendly conversation. Somebody utters something about who they're voting for, and then kaboom! All that.
You forgot all the times.
Oh, it's all gone.
They took you out for lunch,
Yeah.
or all the times they may have loaned you a dollar or two.
Or you just met them and they were a nice guy, and then all of a sudden the lens goes over your face, and it's like, oh, it's one of those. and and this is where I said earlier, it makes people go insane, right? It's very tribalistic, and I don't like to avoid things, but this is something that it's not like an avoidance. It's not that you're avoiding it. Is you are you're doing something that is going to allow order in the academy, and you're just not being an intrusive person, and you're not making things harder than it has to be.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, let's put this disclaimer over all of these that we're about to talk about. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
There's a time and place. There is a time and place for everything in all of these topics. So the first one is politics. And then, what's the other one that could also be divisive, and so divisive that politics in this next one have actually caused wars?
Yeah, it's another belief, religion.
So again, once we step into the sanctity of an academy, dojo, dojang, whatever region of the world you're in, what you choose to call it, you step onto that mat space. Yeah, leave the politics, leave the religion.
Beliefs, again, are things that you believe.
You don't have to abandon them.
Right. With or without evidence. With or without evidence, you believe it no matter what. Not no matter what, but for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. So these are not things that, there's just no debate that can really be had unless there is an overwhelming amount of charity between the two people. Like, I could have a good debate with you about religion, I feel, even if we're both not religious. Let's say I was religious. But because, again, I would just be very charitable, and we would be in like a one-to-one setting. There's not people around. Somebody might overhear something. I think it's fine, right, between me and you. But in the academy, I don't want to hear my students talking about, I go to this church, blah, blah, blah. And
Oh, you go to that church. Well, I go to this temple,
I go to this mosque.
but mine's better.
Yeah, my mosque,
Yours
what?
is fake.
Yeah, this is Buddhism.
Here we go.
I'm not even religious. I
Here we
believe
go.
in, See, it
go.
goes down that rabbit hole quick, and it's not a rabbit hole you want to discover. It's just you don't want people thinking things about you that cause them to prejudge.
Oh, and you know what? Let's step back a little bit on this whole discussion. And we mentioned that we don't want to bring this onto the mats. And it's like, why is that? Because this is the one place that you actually none of that matters. And jiu-jitsu in its essence, in its core, is real-time problem solving to save your life.
That's a great point.
It's like, no. We need you fully present. And then when you walk into an academy, and if you have all these things that, I'm about to hear, old Jonathan over here talking about AB or, his political affiliations. What does that do to your mindset and your ability to learn what you're there to learn?
Yeah, it's irrelevant. You're
creating noise.
Yeah, you're creating noise. Most of these thoughts, they can be toxic when they're divisive, right? Like if I see, somebody that is a part of a religion that I don't agree with or something, and we're having discussions and back and forths, and they're saying they're this and I'm saying that. It's just not. I didn't need to know this person's beliefs and religions in the first place. They shouldn't have really made it an academy thing. It's just not. It's just. I mean, this is common sense. We're talking about kind of these first two things. Even though we're getting into detail, it's pretty common sense. This is dinner table stuff.
There you go.
The dinner table, you avoid it. And think about that, right? Dinner table is
dinner table rules apply.
Yeah, and at dinner table, it's family. These are people that are not.
Yeah.
Like I can't stand it when jiu-jitsu academy owners they just overuse the term family, right? Because let's be honest, your students and your teammates. It's not family, man. It's not. It's just not. That you might treat them like family and all that stuff, but to overuse the term family, it's not. That's not how it goes. Not 200 people in your academy. They're not all your family. Okay?
You are not responsible to those people the way you should be responsible to your actual family.
No. So you're right. So if you're not talking religion and politics at the dinner table to your family, definitely avoid it with strangers or people that you barely know. Definitely avoid it.
That's a great point, but at the same time, not to dismiss what a good academy, and good is up to you to decide how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel as if you're a part of a family, so be it. But now we're at the dinner table,
right?
So hold it. Timing is everything. If you guys want to hang out afterwards and grab a bite to eat, after training, grab a Slurpee at your closest 7-Eleven, non-sponsor by the way, shout out. Then have at it. Talk about it then, but not in the mats, not on the mats.
Right.
Number three.
This can go many ways, Jim. So I'm going to talk about the first way it can go, and then I'll talk about the second way. Definitely, if you are sexuality, right? That's the
number three,
term.
sexuality.
Sexuality. Right. Definitely, if you're attracted to another member, I would tell you as an academy owner, you gotta let that go. Right, you don't want to. I don't think there's any situation where it's appropriate to begin dating people inside the academy, especially if you did not have any kind of relationship before the meeting each other at the academy. And the reason I say that, it's a blanket term, and I know that it doesn't apply for everything. I know there's probably people listening that met their wives, on the mat. I'm very happy for them, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna say that from what I've seen, and you can. Back me up on this if you feel the same way. These things never end well. They just never end well. And sure, maybe 1 in 5 or 10 of these relationships that start, at the academy, they end up, being married happily ever after. But I would say 9 out of 10 times it creates problems.
Yeah, the deck's stacked against you. Not by any stretch of the imagination are we saying it doesn't work.
Right.
Absolutely it does. You hear that? Absolutely, it does work. However, the deck is stacked against you, and it makes something even more challenging than it normally has to be.
And don't be that guy or girl. Mm-hmm. Don't be that person.
So and then when we talk about sexuality,
Right. That's
like,
another.
Let's go
Yeah.
down this rabbit hole a little bit, because now we're in a day and age where we have all these pronouns
Right.
to identify, the LGBTQ and any other letter. It's like, sure, you have a voice, not a problem. But again, we're not going to talk about this on the mats. Whether you're heterosexual, homosexual, it really shouldn't matter. You're there for one reason. It's a jiu-jitsu. Once you start sprinkling in all these condiments, these accoutrements of life, it's actually the recipe for a not so.
You don't
good
know how
turnout.
people are on the mat. They might be
Right.
super tolerant. I don't. At my academy, look. Some people might not agree with this, and that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. I accept everybody, but I try to make it a point that it's like the military. Don't ask, don't tell. If you don't ask this person what they like, whatever sexuality they have, who they like, what they like, it doesn't matter. And also, don't broadcast it, in a unnecessary manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be yourself. If you're a flamboyant gay dude, be yourself, but if you're not, you don't need to, bring that out just to let everybody know. It's one of these things where it's like
virtue signaling.
yeah, we don't like if somebody, I had this happen one time, and I don't, there's not a good or bad story, it's just a story that happened. I had a member, a former member, this person moved, but they signed up a while back, and they told me in private. They just said, "Hey, I'm gay. I homosexual." And I said, "Okay, no big deal. Thanks for telling me." And I told this person, you don't need to let everybody know. It's not a big deal. You're very normal. Everything's good. No big deal. Let's roll. Everything's all good, right? But this person felt very uncomfortable signing up because they needed to let me know that. And then once they heard that I was accepting,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Oh, okay, great."
That's
I'll
all
sign
they
up."
need to know.
That's all I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want this person to be judged or anything, so I never told anybody. Nobody in my academy even knows who this person is anymore. So it's.
So let's do a little thought exercise
Yeah.
here. So I think that's a way to do it. But in the whole
Mm-hmm.
spirit of the reason why you don't talk about sexuality, it's not necessarily like we're censoring it.
No.
But imagine this for a second. The thought experiment here is that, what if someone just walked up on the mat, just pointed at you, "Yo, I'm heterosexual." You would look at him like,
The hell's wrong with you?
all right. Yeah, it'd be like, all right,
Yeah.
that's weird. That's weird,
Yeah.
right? It's the same thing. Is, yo, I'm homosexual. It plays the same. It's just, why are you telling me this? It should, whether either side of that coin, it's just
train.
Just
Just
train.
train.
What
Just
are we
come to
doing?
class. Just train. And it's not that. Like, say if all my students came out and told me some sexual preferences that I didn't know about all of a sudden, right? It's not going to change anything. But at the same time, I don't know everybody's beliefs in this academy, right? I have a lot of students. There might be some people that are uncomfortable. You might have just made them uncomfortable. We can't, what am I going to do? I can't kick them out of the academy because of some feeling of discomfort, right? I can't, unless they do something that is prejudiced or bigoted, I can't kick them out. So now you've created this discomfort, I guess, with a member. And it's, again, this whole thing, it isn't about one person. It's about the academy and creating order. The whole academy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're, if you want harmony in your academy, you should, these are rules, right? These are kind of
yield to the greater whole.
Yeah. It's
Like
not
whatever,
about you.
Yeah, and whatever and another thing to really mention, all these things we talk about on both sides, whether it's the academy owner or the person running the academy, in charge of running the academy, or even the student, these apply both ways. Now, from the position of leadership, if it's your academy or if you're the one tasked to run it, then it rolls downhill. So
it starts at the instructor.
It starts at the top and it rolls downhill, and then the owner / manager, whatever you want to call it, is the one responsible for creating the culture of the academy and the vibe. And timing is everything, going back to that one. And then to your story, man, it didn't happen on the mats. It happened, right before enrollment. It was an inquiry. Cool, got it taken care of. Bam, we're on the mats. Don't need to talk about it anymore. It's as weird as, again.
It's for their own
comfort. You want them to be comfortable.
It's not about, like, I'll say this again, it's not about one person. It's not about me. It's not about that person. It's not about another member. It's about the academy as a whole.
The culture that you're creating for the academy, the greater whole, right?
Exactly. Not everybody's the same.
Right.
So we have to accommodate to everybody. It is a business at the end of the day. You can't, that's like, if you go to a restaurant, right? Mm-hmm. You can't have religion and politics and sexuality stuff all over, pro this and this, and then you got political stuff here, you got religious stuff at the Chipotle. You think people are going to go to that Chipotle? They're going to go in and be what the heck?
But here's the thing. This is a great thing to bring up. Going back to the owner and creating the culture and establishing these guidelines, right? There could be a lot of value, because what if, let's say, we open up an academy in West LA, which out here is West Hollywood, which is a very homosexual part of town. And it's like, you know what, a gay men jiu-jitsu academy. There's the value. Everyone knows. And why would they do that? So once they step through those doors, they can be at ease. Like, no one's judging me for this.
Am I allowed to train there as a straight man?
That's a great question. I mean, you'd have to ask them. So I don't know, but the point is someone who markets to that.
I think
community.
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like when you have kosher meat or a restaurant that serves kosher.
Yeah, I get it. I see there's like a wrestling club in SoCal Wrestling Club.
Women's only.
Okay, that's another. That's another. But the SoCal Wrestling Club is. I have never been there. I've heard about them. I guess there's a lot of transgendered, and there's a lot of homosexual, and then there's a lot of there's like another class there. But either way, they market themselves as this, right? This inclusive thing, right? I'm trying to think, if I was in that position, right? Say if I was a transgendered male, woman, it doesn't matter. Would I still think there's nothing wrong with marketing, the gay man's jiu-jitsu club in West Hollywood. I just feel like if I was a gay man, I would just open up a jiu-jitsu club, right. and then I would just it don't matter, But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there's value
because
in
there's
that.
comfort. You build a community,
and there is a default.
Yeah.
There is a default, and the default is heterosexual.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that one enough, but I'll think on that one a little more.
So yeah, because think of an establishment that may advertise themselves as such, right? As a heterosexual man, you will know that walking in, and by default, you're good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, you guys are a gay jiu-jitsu club. Cool. I'm in. I don't even care about that. But the default in that particular mat space is this. So
how they run it, I feel like they shouldn't really ask either, and then I should be able to walk in there as a straight man.
They shouldn't.
And just blend right in.
Absolutely.
I think that's great.
And your First Baptist Church, what do you think they're going to have? It's like, sure, if you're Jewish, you could probably go there, but who are they marketing to? Who are they talking to? So that's, so again, we go on, and speaking of getting personal, that brings us to our next one.
Yes. Deep personal issues.
Deep personal issues.
I'm well known for this, not sharing personal information. I had, this, Jim. I had twins recently, and I didn't really even tell my students. They didn't even know why I was gone for 2 weeks.
So they heard the podcast.
I just don't like sharing personal information. And I don't know. I'm just a highly personal person. So this is normal to me, right? Deep personal issues. My aunt's sick. These types of things. I don't like to share these because I don't want to put my emotional burden onto somebody else. But at the same time, that's about me. Why you should avoid deep personal issues inside the academy. We talked about this already in the beginning. People don't come to jiu-jitsu academies to hear your personal issues. They come to train, and maybe they come for some community. They come for some encouragement.
And to forget personal issues for that moment.
Yes.
For that hour and a half of the day.
Yeah.
So
give me some examples, Jim. Give me some deep personal issues people should not be talking about.
Yeah. So just imagine your training partner who you're not necessarily close with, but you get good training sessions with them. Hey, what's up, man? And then they say, oh, well, my grandmother got mugged today, and my dog can't get insurance and is sick. And someone scratched my car. It's like, whoa. It was kind of a rhetorical question. It's like, now what'd you do with that training session? I see you're bummed out. I mean, as an empathetic person, you hope to, you know what? I'll be here. Let's roll. Maybe it'll make you feel better, right?
Yeah, should I go easy on you today, or what? What's the point of you saying that just now? It gets weird, right? It's like, what?
Yeah, it's fun. Well, it's an indictment on our speech patterns. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? If it's not fine, do you really want to hear? I mean, how you doing? Oh, well, I'm not doing
My
this.
default answer is always, I'm good.
Exactly.
I never, if you ever say like, how you doing? I never be like, today sucks. My dog got hit by the car and I stepped on shit, and my favorite president is losing. It's just like I don't. This is not.
What value these aren't even just add to your training session?
Yeah, there's complaining. It's just it brings a negative. It's just a pessimistic, cynical thing when you bring deep personal issues out into the open. For other people to absorb into their being.
Yes, you're carrying an energy, and if you're going to carry that negative energy, and not invalidating anything that's bad happening in your life, but always remember, go back to the original point. What are you walking through these doors for?
What's the point of you sharing that?
Well, no, even further than that, it's like, because you can make the argument. Well, you asked me, you said,
okay.
Hey, how you doing, right? But let's rewind. Why are we on the mats? To learn jiu-jitsu, to practice jiu-jitsu, to train.
Get better at jiu-jitsu, improve our health, mental health, physical health, and to learn.
So afterwards, hey, Ben, I noticed you were a little down. Let's go grab a coffee real quick.
That's a good time.
You want to talk?
Yeah. That's a good
so
time.
that's not on the mats. Let's train.
Yeah.
And we could even get a different episode, different podcast. We can even get into the stopping a roll mid session.
I want to hit one issue real quick before we move on from this. Mm-hmm. But there are certain deep personal issues I think don't hold these in, like suicidal thoughts. There's obviously things that are outliers that need to be addressed, right? Like if you're feeling suicidal and you are actually this is not like me feeling suicidal. I lost a bet, on Anderson Silva type of suicide. Not that kind of suicidal. I'm like real, like for
life
real,
and death.
like depression, right? Don't keep that to yourself. Forget about it, because now we're talking about life's on the line.
Life and death.
Yeah, we're talking about life and death. We're not talking about some victim story that your dog got hit by the car because you backed up too fast. This is completely different, right?
Yeah.
Now we're talking life and death.
You're talking about hurting either yourself or someone else. Yeah, talk to someone for sure.
In fact, if you feel that, you shouldn't even. You should tell the first person you see, probably. It should have never even reached the academy, but you're at the academy, whatever. Just tell your instructor. It's just there's certain, again, I just want to clear that up. Are there any other deep personal issues that should be avoided?
I think just a general. I mean, who's to judge what the deep personal issue is? So I think once again, we're going blanket statement. So without getting too personal with people who are not that personal with you outside of the mats.
Yeah.
And again, the way to address that, if you feel you do need to get this out and it's so important that you get this out, hey Ben, let's go grab a burger, let's go grab a donut or something.
Yeah, there's certain people in the academy you might have a special
just some sort of bond.
With tighter relationship.
Right.
Don't broadcast that across the academy.
Right. So then, also when you avoid these previous principles that we laid out, the first four, that rounds us to a close to our number 5 topic. We will get a little bonus topic as well, but we're going to round this off with our number 5 topic. If you avoid all these other items we laid out, it also kind of implies that you don't do this last one, and which is.
So this one, I would say you should do your best to avoid, but it is unavoidable for humans to avoid this, and it's gossiping. Gossip is usually it's
essentially unavoidable to a point, right?
It's unavoidable.
But if you follow these first 4 steps, you actually take the breath away. You take the air out of this 5th one, which is the gossip.
Right. I think the rule to keep is just don't talk about anybody behind their back that you wouldn't have the balls to say to their face in the exact same verbiage, right? If I say, hey guys, Jim, let's say, you something happened. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank, making up gossip. I'm bad at gossip. Something happened with you, and I'm telling people in the academy the day that you're not here training.
So and so is. I think they went out on a date with such and such.
Oh, okay,
at
that's
the
a good
academy, right?
Yeah, Jim went out with a girl from the academy, and she's dating this other guy from the taco stand.
He says it's because her dog died. And then she got in an argument with her parents because of their political or religious beliefs, and she's leaving the church. So she hit all 4 of those markers.
Let's just keep it to you're dating somebody. You went on a date with somebody in the academy, and I'm telling everybody.
Right.
Why would this is.
No, I'm adding to the story of telling you why they went. So I'm going deeper down that gossip. It's like, because she lost her dog, and she's leaving the church.
Yeah, this is stuff that gossip can. I don't like to use the word gossip if it's in this manner, but gossip can be a funny thing if it's done in a certain way, right? Like we have members at my academy that are like the self identified butt of many jokes.
The class clowns.
Yeah, but they love it. I have some students that I know they love it when people make fun of them because they're making fun of other people and they're just reciprocating, and it's just a fun time. That is not really gossip. That's like ribbing on each other. But it can turn into kind of like a gossip. Like an outsider might see that, like a visitor might see that and be like, "Oh, well, this academy is just all full of gossip."
Or here you go. How about this? Or that one day when they're not really in the mood, they had a really bad day, and they react differently, something that's inconsistent, like, hey man, your feet stink, your gi stinks, you just stink, right? But they were having a bad day that day, and they didn't react how they normally would, right? So it's like, hey man, not today. There's a gossip. Hey, did you see Joey talk to Bradley? Oh, I don't think they like each other. And
that's exactly. That's a good point, because gossip can snowball into spitefulness, resentment, hatred. Even it can snowball into ruined relationships. I've had many times where people told me things that people said about me, and it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling, and also it changes my perception of that person. It changes my perception of many things, right?
Yeah, once you see someone come to you with some sort of salacious story.
Many people,
which you actually know the whole story, and like, no, it's not that way, but I see how you just presented that.
Right. I'll try to tell this story.
He said he stunk. He didn't throw dude's cat in front of a car.
Okay.
A lot of animal violence in this episode.
I'll try to tell this story quickly, but there was a time where I had a member accuse another member of hurting a teen member, right? So I had a member accuse another member of hurting a third member, right? And it was the way this member accused this other member was pretty egregious. It accused him in a way that I was like, whoa, that is not, if this is true, like I might have to kick this person out of the academy. It's that bad? Okay. The way that this first member told me the story was awful. So I had to do my due diligence, right? I had to check the cameras. So what had happened was the first member saw this second member knee bar one of the teen students at my academy. And the way he described it was like how Brock Lesnar Frank Mir knee barred Brock Lesnar. I was like, what? He tapped like that many times, he didn't let go? It was that egregious. And I know that the teen member did kind of, slightly injure his knee, right? So I thought, oh, hell no. I have to watch the tape now, and I have to kick this person out. It was a brown belt. It was a high level person. I was like, no way, it can't be true. Something just smelled fishy. And so I watched the tape, and it wasn't even close to what was described. I mean, it was like this guy said Brock Lesnar doing the knee bar. It was more like, like I lean back on the move and you say tap and I let go right away. It was more like that. It was not, there was an injury, but it wasn't like intentional, like it wasn't like that, So this member had said this in front of me, in front of 4 other members. So all of these members heard this. And then when I checked the tape, it wasn't the case. I had to, I dismissed it, obviously. I was like, well, you saw wrong, or, I later found out that this member had a malicious reason for accusing. And this is gossip. This is a malicious form of not even gossip. It was a malicious accusation, right? But these 4 members that overheard, or they were kind of in the group when we were talking about this, they went and told other people. Right. And so now when this brown belt was, the next day when he came in, I just remember he was like, hey, man, is everything all right? Everybody's looking at me. Like, that word had spread that he had hurt one of our the teen members, and it was like a big deal. It was like people were looking at him sideways, and I had to unravel all of this. I had to go back and tell everybody, hey, look, I don't know, what's being spread. It's not true. This, it was just an unfortunate accident. No more gossip. I had to say that, in front of, at that time, we were having classes of 30 to 40 people, and I had to tell that to the whole class. And so that's a form of gossip that makes people feel alienated, shamed, and it's bad. It's bad for the academy. A small amount of gossip at every academy is going to occur. Everybody who's dating who's all that. Now,
who's not dieting properly coming up to a tournament? Yeah, it's
gained
just
a little
easy.
weight.
It's
all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the.
So we those are the 5 general practices and standards of a good, healthy academy. All right?
Yeah, we're going down the list. They're getting more and more, I guess, innocuous.
Right.
But there's still toxic behaviors.
Those are the 5 main ones.
Yeah.
And here's one that just, you run your academy how you want to, but let's get rid of the bragging. Let's add bragging in there. So a little bonus. We have the top 5. And then the bonus one coming in is bragging.
Yeah, so bragging it's
just ugly.
Kind of goes with gossip in a way that you could gossip, you could be gossiping in a way that is also bragging, So how many people have heard this? I tapped this guy with a triangle the other day. I tapped Jim with a triangle the other day, and he only tapped me, twice, but I tapped him 4 times. Mm-hmm. These are just ego, maniacal, irrelevant. If you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, forget about who taps who. Just don't even think about that shit. This is for people who want to get better at jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not talking about competitors who need to be at the highest level. This is a little different. But if you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, if you want harmony in your academy, you want everything to run smoothly, have order, never brag about anything that you've done in the gym, especially as a way to boost yourself up. Even if you don't think you're pushing someone else down, you are. If you're talking about them in a way that is,
I would say you're actually pushing yourself down.
Pushing yourself down,
because imagine now everyone think about someone bragging.
Yeah, I tapped Jim.
Yeah, what do you think the reaction of that crowd's going to be? How do you really think they're going to look at you like you're so cool, or why are you telling them?
At best, I recognize humble brags immediately.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah, like, man, the last time I tapped so-and-so out, that was rough, but it was man.
That's a humble brag.
Yeah, that's a humble brag, right?
So, yeah, that's the same. So, especially.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah, because the bragging, especially bragging amongst each other, like I'm talking about, let's say, like we have a group of, like, say, 7 or 8 blue belts in my academy. I'm sure they're all jockeying for, who's the best blue belt in their head, right?
If they're competitive, sure.
If they're competitive, yeah. And I think there's a healthy amount of that is good. A healthy amount of that is good. It increases innovation. It increases the level of everybody. Mm-hmm. But where it gets unhealthy is when, let's say, me and you are in that group and we're blue belts today, and I say to you, hey Jim, I've been working on this. I've been catching Brad. Every roll he used to be able to tap me, but now, I tap him like 3 or 4 times every roll. I think, I should be getting my purple belt soon. Like, these are just shit that I don't.
That's
it's so ridiculous to me just saying that out loud.
That's a common one.
But yeah, exactly. It's common. It's like people don't even recognize that they're. You gotta. If anybody has ever said that, and I probably have too. I'm not infallible in any of these things. You got to step back and check yourself, because why did you say that?
And again, again, can't emphasize it enough. Timing.
Yeah.
Or what is the time in which you're saying this? Now, if we're all at sushi sharing
Yeah,
stories with each other, and again, like you mentioned earlier, don't say it behind their back, anything that you wouldn't say in front of them.
Based
or
on
to
your
them.
tone, I think it's intention can be.
Yeah, because sometimes they could really be like, what, proud of themselves, like, oh my God, I'm doing so good. Billy used to tap me out 5 times from Sunday every day. Now he's only tapped me out once.
Oh, that's
and
different.
Yesterday I got him, and he's
That's different. If you're a tight, if everybody in your team, in your clique, in your whatever the group you train with, they're all low ego individuals, you could do that. Like I feel like my academy, I make my students read Ego's the Enemy. By the way, I don't make them, but I try to. I place the book all over the academy.
Yeah, I saw it in
people
your
are
lobby.
like, "Hey, what's this book? Oh, you see the book? Take it home and read it and bring it back."
Yeah.
One out of 3 people bring it back, but it's all good. They can have the book. I buy like 15 copies and I place it around the academy. And anyway, so in the right setting, it can absolutely be. It's not bragging in the right setting. In the right setting, it's more of a joking type of thing. You know, it's like I have again. I talk about my blue belts. There's certain students that they love ribbing each other. So it's like, oh, if you armbar me, I'll quit the academy tonight.
Right.
And then they get armbarred, and then it's like it's just a funny thing. It's like it's not serious, right? So bragging can go many ways. When it becomes toxic is like when it becomes egotistical, right?
Yeah.
It's like
you're trying to validate yourself,
right?
To others.
I'm just better than this guy. I've had egomaniacs at my academy many times in the past, and like I can think about many times where bragging has occurred. I remember this one specific situation where one of my brown belts, he again, this is a guy that's no longer with me anymore. I did kick him out of the academy. He was telling me about another brown belt that he had put to sleep in training. Right, so he said it this way. Now you read into this how you think it sounds, Jim. He said to me, "Hey Ben, hey Jim, I put him to sleep today. Let me show you the video. Let me show you the video real quick." And he shows me the video. It's like the video of like the camera recording, by the way, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Why'd you record that?" And he, it's just like, I felt bad about it.
Yeah,
but
it's the faux concern.
That's just that's anybody with a brain can immediately discern that's a humble brag, right? That's a humble brag, and it's toxic as hell, right? So avoid that. Okay, as I have another example actually. One of my blue belts caught me the other day, bow and arrow choke.
CJ.
Yeah, CJ. Lefty. You saw it?
Saw it.
I posted on the group.
I saw it in the group.
Okay. So I got the camera recording, and I was like, man, I've been caught in my academy in like years, right?
But that was a great message you put behind it, though.
What did I say again?
It was essentially, paraphrasing here, you just summed it up to where the laws apply to me too.
Oh yeah, I basically said like, hey, CJ caught me in this beautiful bow and arrow, and I broke it down. I was like, let's check it out. Check out what happened. He used his left hand. I thought he was using his right hand. I'm trying to loop out of it on the wrong side. So there's something for me to learn. Is a great, I'm showing everybody that, I'm not infallible. You catch me any day.
That's right.
And I have things to learn because I went and practiced my bow and arrow escape a lot, and you can't have no ego in the sense that like, all right, just tap me out, everybody tap me out, I suck,
Have a little pride.
Have a little pride. Yeah, I was a little, when he tapped me out, I was like, oh man, like God, he's never caught me before. Like, am I bad at jiu-jitsu? And then then you gotta catch yourself and be like, oh well, you're not God. You're gonna get caught. And then immediately, I went into kind of this is a good learning.
It's a great breakdown.
Because people don't catch me that often in the academy. I don't have video of it all the time. So it's like, oh, great. I got video. Now I hope by sending those types of messages, it's like it's like reverse bragging, right? It's like humility, humility. It's like if I can be caught by one of my blue belts, on a daily basis even, then if you're a purple belt, you shouldn't have any problem with that white belt, getting you in that Kimura. He's a strong guy, and you're a smaller guy, and he just he Kimura'd you. It's all good, no big deal.
That's what it is.
This is what it is, and that's kind of the opposite of bragging, right? It's like humility.
Which brings us to, so we covered the 5
Yep.
with the bonus, which is the bragging. And then we started going into a little tangent about humility and ego, which brings us to next week's episode. So you gotta tune in. We were gonna link up with Heat on Gracie to build off of part 1 of a previous episode we did, which was on ego.
Yeah. Are we on the mats, Jim, or are we just talking?
I think we're going on the mats.
Oh, great.
So we're going to the university, Ben.
Okay, so I'm going to have to escape Huron's Neon Belly or something,
or
for
he
sure.
may have to escape yours. We'll see. So so tune in. So the next one, that one's scheduled, and we'll try to get that out to you as soon as possible. And anything else you want to add? I think these were good rule sets that will kind of set the table for a healthy mat environment.
Yep.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. I would tell people, go vote, but
No, by the time this is
by
out.
the time this is out, I hope
It's
you
done.
voted already, because
Yeah,
it
right.
is what it is.
So at this point, I don't know if the ballots are still going to be counted or if we know what's up. But either way, we hope that this pandemic situation wraps itself up and we're going to get closer to normal and we can all be on the mats again. So to that, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. If you want to talk to Coach Ben, you can hit him up on his Instagram at Coach BZ. At Coach BZ. And you can hit me up at Jiu-Jitsu Mag. And we'll see you there. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.